This is the fifth and final video in my series on core principles that lie at the heart of my philosophy of teaching and drive everything I do as a musician. So far, I've discussed developing ease, improving your listening skills, playing expressively, and cultivating enjoyment at the piano. If you want to go back and catch up, I put links to all the videos in this series in the description below. So today I'm going to talk about creating community. Creating community is probably the most important of all of my core principles because in life we don't exist in a vacuum. We're part of various communities, whether it be a family, a group of friends, a church, a sports team, a school, a job, even a town or city. You're probably a member of many different communities. At the end of the day, music is all about communication, interconnectedness, and community. Community plays an essential role in my life as a musician. I'm still friends with musicians I met decades ago. In fact, one of the things that got me through the worst of the pandemic was having weekly Zoom conversations with a core group of friends who are professional musicians that I've known since graduate school. I teach at a university where I'm part of a community of musicians and artists in other fields. In the summers, I teach at a summer camp where I'm part of a different but overlapping community of artists. Both of these communities enrich my own life as a musician and also inspire me as a teacher. As a teacher, I create a community among my students and I enjoy participating in their musical, personal, and professional development. Also, some of my students continue to be part of my life even after they graduate and stop studying with me, so there's continued community there. Your communities will shift and change as you move through different stages of your life. When you're a student, you'll be part of different groups than when you're a professional musician, and they'll support you in different ways. We don't need to be physically present with other people in order to feel community with them. I like to think about community on a continuum of the past, the present, and the future. First, looking at the past. Playing the piano is something that's part of a long tradition. As a pianist yourself, you're carrying on hundreds of years of tradition, and many pianists have come before you. You can create community with this history by learning about pianists and teachers of past eras, becoming familiar with piano works by composers from previous centuries, and learning about the fascinating history of the piano as an instrument. This can take the form of learning about famous people and pieces, or researching people and music that have been relatively forgotten or sidelined by history. You can listen to old recordings, read source materials like letters written by composers, and listen to keyboard music played on historic instruments. All of this will help connect you with community that arises from being part of a tradition. Second, looking at the present, connecting with what's happening now. Besides playing the piano yourself, you can attend concerts or watch videos of current pianists and learn about living composers writing music today. And third, looking ahead to the future, as someone who is part of a tradition, you can always help people even younger than yourself who are interested in the piano. You can play for them, teach them how to play, take them to interesting concerts, listen to them perform, and encourage them on their own musical journey. Playing the piano can be a somewhat solitary experience. It's important to seek out community because it's entirely possible to get absorbed in playing solo piano music and start to feel a little isolated. For today's video, I brainstormed about the idea of community and I came up with 12 different ways it's possible to find community as a pianist. Not everything on the list is going to apply to you, but there will probably be at least a couple of things I mentioned today that you can do to create community for yourself. And there are as many ways to be part of a community as there are people, so I'm sure you can think of additional ideas I don't even talk about here. So please put them in the comments below. The first thing on my list is performing. Some of my students love to practice and learn, but don't enjoy performing as much. But if you enjoy it, performing is an essential community builder. Find an appreciative audience and share your music with them. Second, taking lessons from a teacher. Not all students of the piano have teachers, but I do recommend it if possible. A good teacher can help you make progress more quickly than you will on your own, and you can meet other piano students through your teacher. Often a teacher will have recitals or other events for their students to play in and hear each other. In my studio, for example, we have weekly studio classes where my piano students come together and play for each other, and we have 2 studio recitals a year. This is essential to creating a sense of support and community among my students. And number 3 on my list is going to summer music camps, masterclasses, or festival. Taking time out of the summer and going to a camp, residential masterclass, or festival is a great way to find community as a pianist. You'll meet people with similar interests and get to know them both personally and through your playing. The atmosphere at a summer program tends to be pretty intense, and therefore connections you make at them often last for many years. These programs usually do cost tuition, but I always recommend that students apply anyway, even if it seems expensive, because there's often financial aid and scholarship funding available, and you never know what's available for you until you apply. Number 4 on my list is to participate in online communities. There are a lot of online groups for piano and pianists, and you can plug into community by joining some of them and meeting folks that way. Number 5. For adult amateur pianists, I do know that many adult amateur communities exist online and in person at the local level. This is an opportunity to play for each other and help each other grow. Number 6, if you're a piano teacher, joining music or teacher organizations is a great way to find community. Organizations like MTNA, which is Music Teachers National Association, and other local music teacher groups are a couple of suggestions. Here in Indianapolis, for example, we have piano teacher organizations that have monthly programming for members and also recitals and scholarship auditions for their students. This is the case in a lot of other cities as well. Number 7, going to concerts. Attending live concerts is a great way to find community and also support your local art scene. I still remember some concerts I attended years and years ago because there's just something about that kind of event that's way more memorable than watching an online video or listening to a recording by yourself. If you go to concerts a lot in your hometown, you might start to see some of the same people at them and then perceive that you're part of a local community of music lovers. 8. Playing chamber music. This is my favorite kind of music making. Playing chamber music with other musicians is a way to create a musical experience where each musician in the group contributes. Playing piano duets is a lot of fun. This is a music making tradition that goes back centuries and it's a great way to connect with other people. Number 10, collaborating with a singer or choir. This is also a rewarding way to plug into community. I started accompanying choirs all the way back in 5th grade, and it was always fun for me. Accompanying choirs is challenging, but it also helps improve your sight reading skills. Number 11 on my list here is playing in jazz ensembles or jazz combos. A significant number of my high school and college students come to me with jazz experience. If you're interested in jazz and your school has a jazz band, that's often a way to get started, even if you're new to jazz. And finally, working with living composers. I've played many works by living composers, including world premieres, and it's incredibly satisfying to play something by a living, breathing human being. When you play a piece by a composer you know, you can have a dialogue with them. You can talk to them and get immediate feedback on your interpretive ideas. Also, once you've played a piece by a composer you've met in person, you've planted the seeds for an ongoing relationship as you each continue your own musical journeys. Maybe they'll even write a piece for you someday. So, there you have it. My thoughts on creating community as a pianist. Community is at the heart of my philosophy of teaching and where I get so much fulfillment every day as I interact with musicians from the past, the present, and the future. Let me know in the comments below what I left off this list. Tell me what communities you are part of and how you create community as a pianist. Thanks for watching and happy practicing!